Alright guys, so today we're going to be taking a Traxxas Maxx and we're going to be making it a WIDEMAXX. We are installing aluminum shafts and the WIDEMAXX kit. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to open up the Traxxas Maxx kit and just show you guys what you get. So give me a second to get that open and I'll be right back. So this is everything you're going to get with the WIDEMAXX kit. You get 4 lower A-arms, 4 top A-arms, and then you get a baggie of parts. And in this baggie of parts there is going to be some extended shaft pieces in case you decide to keep the plastic shafts. However, if you guys are installing the WIDEMAXX kit, I just suggest you go and pick up the metal shafts at the same time. And then you do get 2 higher rate springs, and you do get some C-clips for those shafts, and you get 2 longer steering links in the baggie. So that's what comes with the WIDEMAXX kit. And I'm not going to open up the shafts because you can see in the front of here the shafts, what they come with. They come with your drive cups, and they come with your dog bones, and they come with your stems. And you do get newer bearings in here with this kit, which is very nice, which is fantastic. To do this, these are the tools I suggest you use. You will need a tire wrench to get the stock tires off. You will need a hex 2mm, and you will need a 2.5mm hex drive. I use MIP bits. They're the best so far that I've found. So that's what I use. The first thing we're going to do on this truck is we're going to remove the body. Just get the body out of the way. This truck is brand new and never has been ran. It does got a brand new EC5 connector on it that I installed, as you can see from my father. So first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to go ahead and remove the tires. And remove the tires, I'll tell you what's after that. Alright guys, so I got the 4 tires off. I have my little helper here helping me. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to grab a flat blade. I'm going to pop off all these. I'm going to take out all the pins because we're not going to need them. Because after we put these on, we have to put on the 17mm Traxxas hexes for those to work. Or if you can find some on eBay, you can find some off-brand, they will work too. Make sure you get the stylus for the eRevo 2.0. I don't have that part number on me. And I actually don't know where my dad put them, because this is his stuff I'm installing for him. But when I get to that point, I will show you how to do that also. So just hold still here, guys. I'm going to go ahead and pop all these off, and then when I'm done with that, I'll come back and show you what I'm going to do after. Just so you guys know, for this I use a flat blade screwdriver to make things a lot easier just to pop them off. You just get in there, and you see that it already came off. I have to do it two-handed, guys, so when I get these off, Alright, so there we go, guys. So now we got that done. We're going to start on the back end first and get the back end done, because I think it's a little bit easier to do the back end than the front with the steering. So what you're going to want to do is you're going to need to grab your 2.5mm hex. I'm going to show you all screws that need to come out. So this one on top here needs to come out. And you're going to flip the truck over. And these 4 need to be pulled out. Truck's never been ran before, so it's fairly nice to do it when it's new. You know, got a bunch of dirt and crap on it. So we're going to do that next. We're going to pop out these 4 and that one on the top. And guys, make sure if you are using something like this, just take it easy. You don't need to go too hard. So I'll be right back, and once I get that done, I'll be back to show you what I'm going to do next. Just so you guys know, all 4 of those screws are 2.5 hex, 2.5mm. So go ahead and pop those out now. So there we go. We took that all off in one piece, and now we have the whole rear end off, including the wheelie bar, bumper, and bottom skid plate. Just so you guys are aware, you don't need to take off the wheelie bar separate. You can leave it all as one and just pull it off and put it back on, just so you know. So now that we got that off, I'm going to take my 2mm hexes, 2mm hex bit, and I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to drive these off quick. There's about shocks, and drop the shocks down so the back is free hanging. I'll go ahead and do that next. And guys, make sure if you are doing this, you are putting your screws somewhere safe where they're not going to get lost, stepped on, or whatnot. So then you're going to go ahead, you're going to pop the shocks off, and it's going to drop the back A-arms, which is fine. So now the next thing we're going to do is we're going to work on pulling these A-arms off. So you're going to want to pull this screw here, and then these 2 screws. this screw here. Sorry, I don't know if you've seen that. And then these two bottom screws here. This one is a 2.5, and these two are also 2.5 millimeter screws. And I'm sorry, guys, I lied to you. Before I pull these pins out, I'm going to take off the outside C-hubs, or hubs, or whatever you want to call them. We're going to take those off, and then we'll drop the arms off. So let's do that first. It's going to be two 2.5 millimeter screws on the bottom and top of them. And then that should allow you to pull it off with the shaft, and we'll go from there. Keep as a reference, guys, when you get these pulled off, that you are going to want to remember, keep in mind, that the shorter screw goes on the top and the longer screw goes on the bottom up here. So longer screw and shorter screw. Okay, so just keep that in mind, guys. And then after we're done dropping both these off, we'll go ahead and we'll pull these out, which they just simply is a quick pull right out. Should come right out of there. As you can see there. Once we get those pulled off, we can put these on the side being we're not going to reuse them. And I'll be right back. I'm going to get the other side apart, and then I'll be right back to show you what I'm going to do next. So now that these are off, we're going to go ahead and we're just going to pop out all bearings. The two bearings for the back you can leave on the shafts, the old shafts. Being we won't reuse them, we won't reuse these bearings. We'll put the new ones in. Even though this is a brand new truck, we'll still put them in there. There's that. Still make sure you don't lose your screws, guys. Put those bearings down there. So now I pretty much got the back end off. I'm gonna leave these drive shafts on for now, and we're gonna go ahead. We're gonna open our box of shafts, our new metal shafts, and I'll show you how to put on the C cups here. So just give me 1 second. So here you go. Here's your new box of shafts. With your shafts, you're gonna get the 4 cups, and then you will get the complete shaft. And you also get new bearings. As you can see, the inside bearings are a lot bigger for these shafts, being the shafts are a lot bigger on the inside. And you also do get 4 new screws. These are the same as the screws in the plastic, but I suggest you just use your new screws. So you have the old ones with your plastic shafts. When we get to the end of the video, we'll talk about what I do with those. So yeah, we'll just we'll go ahead. We'll install these bearings inside this cups quick, and then I'll show you how to put on the shafts. So guys, I'm just going to tell you, it is going to be very hard to press these bigger bearings into here. That is normal. That's just how it is. As you can see, the new bearing will sit right inside this cup. The other bearing will sit on the other side in the front, as the old one did. Guys, just be very careful when putting these bearings in. They're pretty hard to get in. I just stabbed my hand pretty good, but I'm fine. Just keep that in mind. So there we go. I got the first one in. The outside one we'll put in when we're installing these back in. But for now, there's the first one in. I'm going to go ahead and start on the second one, get that done quick. Alright guys, I got those both snapped on. Before we do the shafts, next thing we're going to do is we're going to put on the springs. And to put on the springs, you need to remove this screw, and you need to move this screw. They are a 2mm screw. Very simple to do. I'm going to go ahead and do that next. After you get done doing that, you can go ahead and push this down, and they will release, come up just like that. I have to do this two-handed, so I'm going to go ahead and put on both rear springs out of this parts bag here. So I'll be right back. Guys, don't forget to put these more progressive springs on. Don't forget to put the screws back in there to hold the spring on so the spring can't pop off. And as you can see, these springs are a lot more harder and stiff, which is what you're going to need for the WIDEMAXX kit. So now the next thing we're going to do, while we have this back end all open like this, is we're going to go ahead, we're going to pull these 2 screws out of the shafts. There's that one. I'm going to go ahead and pull this side off. There we go. Now these will just pop right off. So don't forget these 2 screws. Oh, that one go right there. These 2 screws, make sure to save with the rest of your stuff that you've already taken off. You will not need to reuse them, being the shafts do come with new screws, which are right here that have new Loctite on them. So you do not need Loctite for this job either. If you want to add additional Loctite, that's up to you, but you do not need to. I've never had one of these shafts fall off, and I've done about 6 of these trucks. So there we go. There are those. You're going to pull out your drive cup, see which side has the threaded side, which is that side. Go ahead and just push it right on there. Take out your new screws. And if you have not done much of this with a screw gun, guys, I don't suggest you tighten screws up with a screw gun, just being that you can wreck screws. Just go down like that, and once you start feeling it tight, there you go, you just let it off. There we go, that side is on. Now I'm going to do the other side, and then we'll pull off these A-arms, and then I'll come back and show you what I'm going to do. So there we go, now we got both drive cups on in the back. Now I'm going to go ahead and remove these two A-arms. So now what we'll do, guys, is we'll make sure we match up our longer A-arms with our shorter A-arms, just so we know where they're going to go. So there you go, those are going to be on the bottom. We'll go ahead and install the bottom ones here quick. So now, being these are plastic driven screws, I do not suggest you use a screw gun if you have not done it a lot of times, or if you're not familiar with using an electric screw gun. Do these by hand if you're not familiar with screw gun. But I've done this plenty of times with a screw gun. You just gotta know when to stop. Here we go. Now this side. And being these are plastic screws, being driven into plastic, you do not need to put Loctite on them. Don't worry about it. So now I'll go ahead and I'll install the top back in. And those are gonna be, so here is one of the top screws, top A-arms, sorry. Put that one, and we'll go with this one here. So just make sure they match up, guys. Those are gonna be your two top A-arms. So I'm gonna go ahead and reinstall those quick. Alright, so guys, since we got those on now, we'll go ahead and throw this plate back over. So I'm going to throw that back in to make sure those don't come off. I just want to give you guys a quick reason why you need to use those bigger bearings. As you can see, this is the old plastic shaft on the right side, and the bearing is a lot smaller. The new bearing is going to slide over this bottom black piece here, and that is why you need the bigger bearing, guys. Just wanted to let you know that before I go ahead and install these. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to install the rear C-hubs, and I'm going to put on these shafts, and when we're done with that on the back, then we're going to switch to the front. But let me do this quick. Guys, don't forget to install those new bearings on the front also before you throw these back together. So now that we've got this back end together, complete metal shafts are on, I have not put on the new you're going to want to go ahead and to get this back on, you're going to slide the top in. You're going to push this down like that. There you go. So we're back together. Now I'm going to go ahead and add the 4 screws and the screw on the top, and we'll be good to go. So there you go. We got the 4 screws on the bottom. Now I'll flip it over. Make sure that's all lined up. I'm going to take this one screw here, push it down through the top. Push that down in there. When you start to feel it grab, you're good to go. You don't want to be stripping out screws on this thing or stripping out the plastic. Now we're gonna go ahead. We're gonna switch to the front end. I'm gonna show you guys how to do that quick, and then we'll be done with this project. So let's go ahead and swap around the front end. So now, guys, the front end is pretty much the same as the back for taking apart. So you can take out this screw here on the top. This is what I'm going to do right now, first thing. And these screws on the top are very long, being they go down through. There is that one. Now I'm going to go ahead and we're going to take out all 4 of these, and I'll be right back. Now that all 4 screws on the top bottom are out, the screw on the top is out. I'm going to go ahead and go like that. That's going to come right off. So now, before I do anything else, I'm going to go ahead and put my longer links on the front. I'm going to take out these 2 screws. This one is on the top, this one is on the bottom, and this other side is the same way. So I'm going to go ahead and remove those quick. And these are a 2mm screw, guys, just so you know. So before I even pull the outside ones off, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to add my new string links on the bag of parts. They are quite a bit longer, as you can see there. Keep in mind, guys, when you tighten those up, it's plastic. You don't want to strip out the plastic, so be careful if you are using automatic tools or electronic tools or electronic screwdriver or whatever you're using. Guys, while you are doing this, if your screws look ratty and your truck is old, it's not a bad idea just to replace the screws. So now the next thing we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and remove the steering links, and that's these 4 screws here. There's 1, 2, 1, 2. I'm going to go ahead and remove those next. Those are a 2.5mm screw. These screws are all the same size, so you don't need to worry again of where they go. And once again, you don't need to worry about adding Loctite being the screwing into plastic. And after you get those screws out, all you'll simply do is just pull these off here. And there you go. So now we've got those off. Now the next thing we're going to do is we're going to start pulling these 4 screws out of the A-arms again, like we did before on the back. But first I think I'm going to pull out the shocks with the 2mm bit and get those out of the way. Alright, so now we got those suspension screws out. You just go ahead and pop it, and the suspension will fall. And then we'll leave this hanging free just like we did in the back. So the front shafts are going to be a little bit different. We'll get to that point. I will show you what I am talking about. And once again, guys, make sure you keep in mind the screws going through the C-hubs. The ones on the top, on the smaller A-arms, at the top are going to be shorter. The ones on the bottom are going to be longer. Okay, so we just loaded a new battery in the GoPro. Let's keep going with this. We're going to move the other side now. Remove the other side now. So now that we got all those off, guys, you can see the A-arms are free hanging. I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to remove this front plate. That is a 2.5mm bolt. There we go. Go ahead and remove that. That should fall right out. And then all I'm going to do is I'm just going to pull this all off as one, as you can see there. Set those aside for now. Now we're going to move on to doing the shafts like we did in the back. We're going to put on our metal C-hubs here, metal cups here, sorry. Now remember, once again, on those front shafts, keep in mind if you are adding metal shafts, to use the screws that came with metal shafts, being they will have Loctite pre-added. These do not have Loctite, they could fall out. That is why we put on the new screws. Keep that in mind. We're just going to go ahead, pull these plastic shafts off, throw them to the side, find our metal drive cups. We're going to add this one first. We're going to go ahead and drop the screw through, so that gets in there. Now don't forget these are a 2mm bit. Take a 2mm bit, throw that down in. Be very careful to not over tighten and strip out the screw in case you ever need to retake it off. Then you go ahead and turn your shaft so that one pops up. Then make sure you find your threaded side once again. Throw that on. Throw this screw in. If you guys want to be cautionary, if you want to add extra Loctite, you surely can. However, I don't feel it is necessary to. There we go. That one is all the way in. I'm going to go ahead and remove these screws with a 2.5 and we'll start throwing on our longer A-arms again. Get those on. After I'm done with that, I'll come back and show you the outside. We went ahead and got those top A-arms on before removing the bottoms. Now I'm just going to take this. I'm going to re-add it with the 2.5mm screws so those top A-arms are held, our bottom A-arms are held. I'm just removing the bottom A-arms here to put on the extended bottom A-arms. There we go. Those are off. Bean, you will not need those. Put those to the side. So we got all 4 of those A-arms in. We're going to go ahead and replace the bearings and the steering axles. We're going to go ahead and pull out these shafts. And we will do bearings next. Pull those out. Pull those out. Throw them to the side for now. Let me go grab my tool to put in the new bearings. There you go, guys. These are so much easier to get pressed in if you've got like a big channel locks or pliers or something to press them in. Makes life a lot easier. So now what I'm going to do next is I'm going to start reinstalling these back on. And then we'll go ahead and put our shafts in. I'll show you all that. But let's do this quick. I'll throw this on. Actually, guys, I lied. I'm going to throw the suspension back on first. So it's up more easier to work with. We'll do that quick. Just so you guys know, on the front of these, there is no new springs to put on, so you won't have to worry about that on the front of it. That is only for the back. So there we go, guys. We got one side back on. I don't have the steering in yet. I'm going to do the steering on this side next. And then we'll switch over to the other side and do the other side. These screws on the top are 2.5mm. And bottom, they are the same size, so it won't matter what side you put them in. Just keep in mind these screws are different on these. Bottom has a longer, top has a shorter. So now, on the front, when you guys go to put it back together, you do have to slide this in last. You have to put in the top here first, and then pull this and slide it in, get it in there. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to reinstall screws in the front. We are complete with this. We're good to go with that, so I'm going to install screws in the front, and then we'll go from there. Alright guys, so I did find this hub, so I'm going to install those two for you to show you how one goes on, and then I'll put the rest on, and then we'll throw the wheels back on. When you buy the hubs, you are going to need the bigger tool. Your standard tool isn't going to fit them, or a 17mm socket will fit. So I'm going to start by showing you how to install one, and then also install the rest, and then we'll come back, and then we'll throw the wheels on, and then we'll be done with this little project. So how you're going to go about doing this is you're going to take one hub, you're going to throw it over like that. You got to make sure they're pushed all the way up through. You're going to push that all the way through, but you don't want it coming out the other side. Then you're going to take this little set screw, and it's going to go down through the top. So there you go. There is one completely on. Make sure your set screw is not sticking, or the pin is not sticking out on either side. And when you put in your set screw, you just have to zoom it down until this starts to spin. You don't need to over tighten it or tighten it too much, because even if it does fall out, your tire is still going to be held on by the tire being over this. So not a big deal to worry about. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to do the other three, and then I'll come back and we'll throw the wheels on it. And just so you know, guys, if your pin will not go through comfortably, you can pull these out. They probably need to be pulled out. That's probably the issue. Alright guys, so we got all four on. Next thing is I'm going to re-add the wheels, and then we'll come back and take a look at it. I paid about... We'll come back, we'll talk about that. So here we go, guys. We are complete. The truck is done. Your stock parts, you can keep them as extras. If you ever want to go back, you can keep them just as standards. Otherwise, you can sell them. You can make some decent money on eBay. Just look at what the prices are going for on the shafts. These are brand new, so these will get thrown on eBay. If you're interested, you can leave a comment. I'll give you my eBay name or whatever. So guys, that's going to be it. I'm going to throw the body back on. We'll take a look at this WIDEMAXX kit, and then we'll be done for today, but I'm going to pack up some of this stuff first. As you guys can see there, there's the kit installed. The truck is done and ready to go. You can see those back springs are working as they're supposed to, keeping the truck nice and level with the extended kit on it. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. If I helped you out, make sure to like and subscribe. Make sure to turn on the bell and hit that like button, guys. Thank you so much for watching.